Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, let's go. Kevin here, Top 1 Financial Advisor and best-selling author. We are here to talk about the stock market. It's about to be a very busy week in the stock market, and we need to talk about it because it is earnings week. What is earnings week, or earnings season rather, is when companies come out and say, hey, here's how we did in Q1 of 2023. This gives people like you and me and everybody else a sense of, one, how well the companies are doing and what they're planning to do the rest of the year, and gives us a little bit of a glimpse of what's on your mind, right? If you're running these companies, do you think we're going into a recession? Are you going to hire more? Are you looking to cut more? What is going on in the space? And this is the most up-to-date time or time range that we have for what's happening right now this year. So Q1, January, February, and March of what's going on and what they expect in 2023. I've got the list of companies that I want to keep an eye on, and I think the companies that are going to have the most significant impact on the stock market. As always, when we do these, the biggest companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, aka Google, Meta, they usually announce in the exact same week, which we will talk about. I have on my tiny list here. And where they go, the stock market usually follows. Not every single time, but because they make up, I think, 20% of the stock market, just those 4 or 5 companies, they do well, the market will do well. If they don't do well, the market usually tanks. So we'll see if that's going to happen. But with the list I have here, I've got maybe 8. Yeah, I've got about 8 companies here, and I'll tell you why I'm keeping an eye on them and what you may want to expect as well. All right, first here is Microsoft and Alphabet both report on Monday because why I'm interested here is because AI. You know it's a buzzword. And these are the 2 companies that are in that main race because you've heard of ChatGPT. They are backed by Microsoft. Microsoft was the first one to launch their ChatGPT plus Bing and get that out there. And Google has been chasing behind it with its Bard AI. We did a whole video on Bard AI as well. So I'm curious to see what they're doing. What's their next step? How do they feel they are positioned in this space, and again, what's going to happen next? Very interested to see. I'm also interested to see how they feel about the labor market. Both companies did do some pretty significant layoffs. Are they done, which is what I would hope, or are they looking to ramp back up, or do what's going on with your labor? How do you expect to continue what you're doing, and how do you think sales are going to continue? I'm really curious too for Google in this case because Google, while we know them as a tech company and they want to be an AI company and all this kind of stuff, they are primarily an advertising company. They make money through YouTube ads. They make money through Google search ads, so on and so forth. So I'm curious here, if we are going into a recession, which people have been crying wolf for more than a year now, are people spending more on advertising or less? I don't know. I would love to hear how things are trending over there. Don't know where that's going to go, but those 2 companies are on Tuesday. Another company on Tuesday is GE. And we talked about GE very briefly because they're up 60 or 70% this year at the time that we did the video. And I did more research into GE, and this is where investing gets a little fuzzy because if you look at their profits, like how much money they've actually been making, it ain't much. In fact, it's been negative the majority of the time, but the stock is sky high. So I am very curious to see what they are doing, what they are planning to do, and if they made money in the last quarter. I don't know where it's going to go. But I'm also curious, if they lose money and they don't do well, will the stock continue to go up? Because that's not new. We could do a whole breakdown video on GE because it was just interesting as I'm going through. I'm looking like, hey, y'all have been losing money like 7 or 8 out of the last 10 years. Not quarters, years, but the stock is up as if y'all are sitting on some gold mine. So I'm curious to find out, are they sitting on some gold mine that I don't know about? So I'm very curious there. On Wednesday, 2 companies I've got my eye on, Meta and United Rental. Meta for the exact same reason. I'm curious for Google and their advertising business. I want to know what Meta is doing, what they're planning. I have said for a while now that I think Mark Zuckerberg needs to step down because the company doesn't have any direction. And if you have noticed, when we had the whole cryptocurrency phase, like at the very beginning of the pandemic, they were rumored to come out with their own cryptocurrency and figure out how to do online payments. They wanted to be the new PayPal. They wanted to be the new Cash App. And talked very little about, or a lot about that at that point in time. Then what happened? That kind of fell off. And then they were talking about the metaverse. That was the big thing. They changed their company's name to Meta, and they were talking about all the stuff that you can do in the metaverse and investing hundreds of millions of dollars in that space. And now they're pivoting very, very hard to AI because that's the news of the day. And that's, you put AI in anything and your search volume and your traffic and your likes, all that stuff goes up just because you said 2 letters. That's not how I want a company to operate. I want you to see the future and be in front of it. I don't want you just chasing after stuff just because. So I'm very curious where that's going to go. Yes, they also did layoffs. The stock has also been up pretty big so far this year. But it doesn't mean that they're going to be profitable or that things are trending in the right direction. I don't know. That's why they're on my list, because I want to figure out what is going on over there at that company. Moving on to Thursday, I've got Amazon, Caterpillar, Southwest Airlines. That'll be interesting. And then I have Merck. Amazon has always been a weird, curious case to me because the stock has not done well for a number of years now. I think we're going on 2, maybe 2.5 years, where the stock has not really beaten the S&P 500 and haven't really competed with Apple or Microsoft or any of the other tech companies it was used to competing with. Remember, before the pandemic, it was, back then, it was, they called them the FAANG companies. So it was Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, and Netflix. Those are the absolute best stocks you could hold. People would tell you to buy those and hold those forever, and you would be extremely rich. And for the most part, you were right. But Amazon, for more than 2 years now, has really tapered off. 2022, I'll give you a mulligan there. Fine. But also 2021 wasn't all that good, even though those other companies, Apple, Alphabet, Google, Alphabet and Google are the same company, Netflix, like those were doing well with the exception of Netflix. So curious to see like what they're doing. Are they going to do more layoffs? Are they going to do more acquisitions? Are they going to focus? Because what are they doing? You bought a vacuum company, you bought MGM, you're doing streaming, you're doing regular online shopping. What are you doing? Figure it out and streamline your life. Okay, so I'm very curious as to what Amazon is going to do and what they're doing with their cloud business. And are they also going to go into AI too? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But I'm very curious. It wouldn't shock me if the words AI came into that investor call as well on Thursday. Caterpillar, interesting because Caterpillar and then even United Rental, which I don't think I went into detail about, I have had my eye on those and we've talked about those for the infrastructure bill. As we start to get into summer and construction starts to pick up, I would expect those companies to continue to do well. So just curious if that's going to be the case. More of a confirmation. Like, were we right about those stocks and see where they go? And then the last 2 here, Southwest. Southwest has been through some issues. Okay, now I ain't forgot that they canceled my flight when I was trying to go home for Christmas. I'm pretty sure a lot of people haven't forgotten either. They also had a little bit of a skirmish last week. I don't know if y'all seen that viral video, the man being upset about a baby being on a plane. That probably didn't have any real impact on the value of the company. But they do have a well-publicized issue around their old equipment and these delays and those massive cancellations. How are they going to fix it? How would the company respond? I would like to hear it. I would like to hear what their responses are coming this Thursday. And then the last one here is Merck. Merck is one of my favorite companies, and I believe it is undervalued. We talked a little bit about this in our members only. We can continue having that conversation. I'm up on it, not by a whole lot, like 7% or so, but I'm very curious as to, are things going the way that I expect them to? Because my money is on the line here. But I'm very curious as to see how they're going to perform and just continues to give us more up-to-date information on the drugs that they're putting out and how stable we think this sector can be. Just not Merck, but you can throw Pfizer or even Moderna in there as well. We knew, or we thought rather, coming into 2023 that, hey, could be a recession, could be a bunch of other stuff. Let's go to a space where we think is inflation resistant and interest rate resistant. That was healthcare, right? So we'll see if that is going to continue to be the case. So those are the companies I'm going to keep my eye on. They are not the only ones out there in the world. There are well over like 100 companies that will be announcing, but again, it's really about the bigger ones. Who's in the S&P 500? Which companies can really shake up the stock market and really, inform us of what we need to know for the previous quarter and the quarter coming ahead. So keep your eye on those. You don't need to do anything as an investor, but you do want to be informed because all of these bits of information are the things that can help you moving forward. That is the key thing here is, if you want to listen to a call, you can. If you just want to read up on the notes or subscribe, tune into the channel, and we can talk about them. I can just give you the quick Spark Notes version, but it kind of builds up your memory bank and builds up your investing critical thinking muscles, your intelligent investor muscles, if you will, because it's stuff like this where I can tell you that Apple's privacy change, right, is the reason why Meta is not doing as well, and they haven't done as well because they restricted cookies, and that was going to stop Meta from tracking people really well, which means they can't serve ads really well, which means that as an advertiser, I don't want to invest my money or put my money on a platform where I know you can't target. How do I know that? Because of the investor calls. Right, because I listened to enough of them, both from Apple and from Meta, to really figure out what's going on. So that is how you do it. That is why it's important, but it doesn't mean that I need to go out and start buying stocks tomorrow or selling stocks tomorrow. Okay, you still want to take the long-term approach, but you do want to absorb information to help update your viewpoint on what's going on. All right, that is it for me today. I'll talk to you later. Bye.